So what blocks you from finding your own true voice? I believe it's the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of failing. Oftentimes people say they have a creative block, but I don't believe that's true. In my experience, the thing artists fear more than anything else is discovering they aren't as good as they want to be. And it's so much easier not to find that out. If we postpone starting, we can't fail. And if we don't fail, we don't have to face up to the failure. Better to say we're blocked or too stressed or too busy than to say we just couldn't do it. I often get emails from people telling me that they're a few months away from retirement or a career sabbatical or a child leaving home, and they can't wait to start painting once that time comes. They've got all their supplies ready and they know they're going to make a space, they know where it's going to be. But here's what I know that they don't. Almost none of them will actually start painting when the time comes. If they were going to start painting, they'd already be doing it. They're actually using the day job or the teenager as an excuse. It's a way not to face up to how much they have to learn. Deep down, they suspect they can't make masterpieces, and they really want to make masterpieces. And they're right, actually, they can't. Not yet. Because the only way to make masterpieces is to work a lot and to make things that are not as good as you wish they were. And if you're waiting for some future event to give you permission to do that, you're simply wasting time. And no, having a full-time job or having a teenager does not mean you cannot also paint. Of course, there are times in our lives when we simply have to make a choice to care for someone else, and when that caring takes all our time and energy. But those are not the situations people write to me about. Those situations are obvious, we understand them, and we don't think about, oh, when this is over, I'm going to start painting. You just get coping. So those people don't write to me. The people who write to me are just hiding from the dreaded failure, because it really doesn't take much time to paint. When I had a full-time job up until 2 years ago, I had a full-time job in another business which was totally unrelated to art. And having your own business is a lot of work, as many of you will know. And so I didn't have much painting time. I came over here at 9:30 at night and I painted till 11:30 because that's the only time I had. And I didn't have my own space. I had a tiny little almost cupboard. It's like a little office in our house, but it's smaller than an office. It's a cupboard. That's where I worked. A tiny space, the corner of a table is all you need, and 30 minutes at a time is all you need. So if we don't need time and we don't need space, what do we need? We need to know that failure is not a bad thing. Failure does not mean you're a bad artist. It doesn't mean that you don't have talent. It doesn't mean you should be ashamed and quit. It just means you haven't yet found a way to do what you want to do. And if you keep going, you will find that way. In fact, when I'm painting, I see failure as a sign that I'm doing something right, because it means I'm doing something new, something that pushes me, and that therefore is important. It doesn't move the ball forward if I just keep doing things I know I can do. That's coasting, and it helps no one. Does the world need another pretty landscape? Does the world need another perfect still life? Does the world need another abstract like the abstracts I've already made? Or would people like to see something new and exciting and different? And I can't get to new and exciting and different without messing up. I've spoken to two well-known artists about this. David Tress is a British landscape painter. He told me that 30% of his paintings get trashed. He doesn't keep working over them the way I do. He just trashes them. So he has a 70% success rate. And Brian Ruttenberg, who's an American painter, told me also 25 to 40% of his paintings don't work out, and that when they don't work out, he actually physically trashes the canvas and enjoys it. And Brian buys expensive canvases, but he cuts it, slashes it, stamps on it, and he feels better. So he has a 60 to 70% success rate, similar to David Tress. These are experienced, very successful people whose paintings sell for a lot more than any of ours do. And they're not successful all the time. Doesn't that make you feel better? So can you reframe this? Can you see failure as a good thing? Let's say you decided to run a marathon. And I said, okay, good, you're going to run the marathon. Today's your first training day. Go out and do 26 miles. And you only managed 2 miles before you collapse. Would you say, oh, I'm a failure. I'm never going to be able to run a marathon at this rate? Or would you say it's the first day of a year's worth of training and I managed 2 miles? That's pretty good, having not run at all. If I said, I want you to go become a doctor and I want you to do a brain operation on day 2, please. So if you could learn as much as possible on day 1, that would be fantastic. You would think that's ridiculous. But when it comes to making art, we think we should be able to do it immediately. And if we don't, it means we were not given a God-given talent. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. Every failure is a sign that you're one step nearer to what it is you want to do. And when you get to the point where you can execute something easily and smoothly, you will want to push yourself into areas you can't do easily and smoothly. And this whole cycle starts again. All the good artists I know are constantly pushing themselves into new territory. And so we learn to live in this uncertainty. We learn to live with constant failure, but we don't see it as a bad thing. And we're not frightened of it. We feel fear and stress and nerves sometimes when we're about to attack a painting or cover something over that we love, but we know it needs to go for the good of the whole painting. We feel fear when we try something new, but we know that fear is a good sign. It's a sign that we're doing something worthwhile, and so you come to welcome it rather than being frightened of it. So for today, I just want you to think about, as you go about your daily business, just think about, or even journal about, how much of a role does fear of failure play in you not doing the type of paintings you want to do? And what type of painting would you do if you weren't afraid to fail? When I come back tomorrow, I'm going to talk about one of the key things that helped me to get comfortable with failure. So I hope you'll stick around and watch that tomorrow. Until then, have a good day. Oh, and by the way, if you ever feel lonely because the people in your life don't get what you're doing, don't understand what you're struggling with, have you listened to the Art Juice podcast? If you don't know what a podcast is, it's simply a radio show over the internet. I do a podcast with my friend Alice Sheridan. It's completely free. You can listen to it anywhere where you can find podcasts. It's called Art Juice. And we've now done many, many episodes. So you've got lots to catch up with if you haven't been listening. And we talk about all aspects of our life as working artists. We talk about the struggle to balance work and family life. We talk about the business of art. We talk about the creative aspects of art. We have a giggle. Occasionally we have a cry. And I think it's a really good listen. So if you don't listen to podcasts, you can actually find them on your phone. So if you have an iPhone, somewhere on your phone, you will have this little purple icon with a microphone in the middle. Can you see with the halo around it? Sorry for my painty fingernails. And you press that. That brings up, the first time you use it, you'll have to just sign in, and then you can get to any podcast and you can save podcasts you like. And our podcast has this logo, Art Juice. You can also listen on Spotify. If you have Spotify, podcasts are on there. Just search for Art Juice. You can listen on any other podcasting platform, or you can go to my website, louisefletcherart.com, and click the For Artists tab, and there's a podcast section there. But it's a really good free resource if you just want some extra support and a bit of a giggle and a bit of company while you're working. Okay, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.